Hello and welcome to Wayne's Universe of Bizarre and Exotic Characters. It's a gray afternoon and I'm broadcasting live from Bill Rose's studio. I've got a short story that I wrote quite a long time ago. This one's called The Electric Chicken. So here goes. Albie dug deep into his feed pail. Youch! His right index finger sprung a red leak from an errant bit of corn that had wedged under his uneven nail. Snakes and critters, he yowled, waving his hurt digit in the air after freeing it from the corn bucket. Gophers and gators and old bitchy scrub buckets. He sucked on it momentarily, all blood and corn dust. I need me a new set of corn spreaders, I reckon. This chicken racket keeps getting more complicated all the time. Albie's wife Bluebell called to him from the front porch. Albie! Albie! Now where in tarnation has that cinder-hearted husband of mine gone off to? I'm over here, Bluebell, he grumbled indifferently, down in the chicken yard. Albie, she continued, we're headed into town later, less'n you already forgot. We need to pick up some victuals and provisions. I hear you, woman. He sucked his finger again. Dang featherbirds. I'll learn you one of these days, you wall-eyed goose livers. Bluebell had already retreated into the kitchen after another half-hearted admonishment. Yeah, was all that Albie had said with a disgruntled wave of his hand. Just when he was getting ready to put the feed down, he saw the first flash. What in the hell was that, he mumbled, scratching his right ear. In the same motion, he lifted the cap off his head and repositioned it absently. Then he saw a second flash of light out of the corner of his eye. He turned to face the far end of the chicken yard just in time to catch the next flash. By golly, he marveled, that rooster's on fire. Sure enough, one of the cocks was letting off a faint glow every 10 or 12 seconds. Periodically, it would light up like a dwarf Christmas tree or a brand spanking new light. Well, I'll be hornswoggled, he lipped almost inaudibly. I've got myself an electric chicken. Don't that beat all? He didn't know whether to be pleased or worried. Bluebell, he hollered, running into the house. He proceeded to tell her all about what he had just witnessed. She was nonplussed, to say the least. You better lay off the sauce, Albie, was all that she said. Then she ran the back of her hand over his brow to check for signs of fever. No such luck. His head was cooler than a steel bucket. You gotta come out and see this chicken, he prattled. Against her better judgment, and just to humor the darn fool, she felt compelled to comply with his request. She didn't want to come out at first, but after a spate of coaxing, she eventually followed him out into the cluck yard. They located the cock in question next to one of the layers. No electricity in sight. They waited for a few minutes. Not a single spark. Poor Albie had egg on his face. No amount of consoling could placate his woebegone senses. He had seen what he had seen, and that was that. Nobody would ever tell him any differently. Albie had the reputation all over town of being a pretty straight shooter. He'd likely go to his grave believing that he had seen an electrically charged chicken in his cockyard. His friends all thought it was cock and bull, but no one ever questioned Albie's sincerity. They all thought he must have seen a farmyard mirage, even Bluebell. Albie never did find the teeny-tiny electronic headset that the charged rooster had been using to communicate with the star creatures from the 13th galaxy, or any of the critter's other sophisticated equipment that had set this chicken apart from the others on Earth. Poor Albie went to his grave a bitter man. That's it. So we'll see you next time from Wayne's Universe of Bizarre and Exotic Characters.